I remember the first time I ever heard the story of Chicken Little, which is kind of crazy. The old Disney story. It was a book when I heard it. I mean, it was read to me. I think I was maybe in elementary school, and acorn falls on this little chicken's head, and what does he say? The sky is falling. It is crazy to me how many people think the sky is falling when really there's just maybe something small that happens to them, a little circumstance they can't control. Welcome to Chasing Greatness. I'm glad you joined us this week for the podcast. We're talking here at the end of the week on our Win at Life episode. We do that at the end of every week. And I want you to think about one of the really secret weapons you have to help you win at life is your mindset, your optimism, your attitude. It is so important. So how you doing when it comes to that? Thanks for listening. Thanks for prioritizing your growth. Help us keep growing the channel here. But as we think about that today, how are you doing when it comes to really having a positive attitude? Now, there's the old, what's the old glass half full or half empty? How do you view that? And the optimist sees it as half full, and the pessimist is negative and critical, and it's half empty, and it's going to be disastrous. And I've got a friend who tells me, he says it's completely full. It's half air and half water. I love that guy. He's a very positive guy, obviously, as you could imagine. And yet I have another friend who I'm with him occasionally, and it literally is like the sky is falling. Everything that happens, this guy, he thinks if it can go wrong, it will go wrong, and he's not that much fun to be around when he gets sort of into that headspace. And so I just want to remind you that your attitude is contagious. It really is. It's going to spill over into your family. It's going to spill over when at work, right? It's going to spill over at work. It's going to win at home. It's going to spill over to your home. And ultimately, it's going to determine whether you win at life or not. No one I know who has a negative, critical attitude could be described as somebody who's winning at life. I honestly think if you have a negative, critical mindset, you're really not winning. You're not living up to your potential. You might even say you have a bad life or maybe even a mediocre life, but you are not knocking it out of the park if your mindset's not right. So let's focus on that. Let's work on that. So I want to give you a couple of things to maybe help you with this. So in my life right now, I have some circumstances that are actually beyond my control, but they're hard. I mean, I look at them and I go, that's kind of challenging right now. I have some other family members, they have circumstances that are really hard and things beyond their control. And what I've noticed is I have a choice. I'm going to be up against my circumstances all the time. Like the circumstances are what they are. And I'm over here on the other side, and I'm always maybe against those circumstances. And what I believe is that there's a game of 2-on-1 is going to happen. What I mean by that is I'm going to go 1-on-1 with my circumstances, but there's a second, we'll just call it entity here, that is going to join one team or the other. It's either going to join my circumstances or it's going to join me in battling my circumstances. And that what I called entity it's my attitude. My attitude is either going to be forfeited by me, and I'm going to put it on the side of the circumstances. And now I'm going to have to fight the circumstances and fight against my own attitude. And I'm going to end up negative. Again, the sky is falling, doom and gloom. And that's going to make me a lot less fun to be around. Or I can let my attitude be on my side, and I can understand that there's things I can't control about those circumstances, but we're going to have the right mindset, and we're going to really not just control what we can control, but I say we should dominate what we can control. Several years ago, I had a chance to do some work with a professional baseball team, and one of the things in their building was they had the sign that said "Control the Controllables." Well, I was there to speak to their coaches, and I reminded those coaches, I said, you don't, in fact, this was kind of probably crazy to start with, but first thing I told them was, you need to take the sign down that says "Control the Controllables." And they're looking at me like, what? That's one of our mantras. I said, you need to dominate the controllables. If you can control it, that's where you need to run up the score. And when it comes to our lives, we have a place where we literally get to run up the score every day. We get to choose to be optimistic. We get to choose whether we're going to be positive or not. And honestly, there's going to be times that things are going to happen around us. The acorn's going to hit us on the head. The team member's going to leave. The family member's going to say something they shouldn't say. The boss is going to put a project on our plate that we don't really feel equipped to handle, and there's no resources. Those things are going to happen. But if we can have this positive mindset, if we can have this sense of belief that things are going to be better, or we're going to make them better, I think we're well on our way. Again, we're chasing greatness here. We're well on our way to reaching our potential, to being great. And here's the beautiful thing. When we talk about chasing greatness, it's not just about us being great. It's really about helping others be great, making a way so they can win as well. And when we have a positive attitude, it honestly is contagious for the people around us. It's going to spill over into our team. Now, one other thing I want to remind you here before we go, and we're ready to roll into the weekend here. This power of positivity is at your disposal. I hope you'll use it. But let me just say this. When you use your positivity and you play that card of optimism, it actually makes it stronger. It's like going to the weight room. Some of you go to the weight room, you lift, and when you get in the weight room and you do that over and over, you get stronger. It's like a muscle when it comes to your positivity. The more you work it out, the stronger it becomes, and the more contagious it becomes. And the less you work it out, the more you become negative, the more you become critical, the more you become cynical, and that is equally contagious, in some ways even more dangerous in its contagion, because it can literally become a toxic environment. If you've ever been around a place where the leader was negative, or the leader was critical, or the father or mother was always, that's just so hard for kids to thrive in an environment like that. And maybe your parents were like that. Maybe your parents were, pessimistic in their outlook. If so, you don't have to be. You can choose your attitude. You get to choose whether you're going to let your attitude be on your side or on the side of your circumstances. Things are always going to be hard. They're never going to be perfect. But really, we can make them a lot better, and we can honestly go into attack mode with our attitude. You're gonna get to choose. You're gonna be optimistic, or you're gonna be pessimistic. You're gonna have a sense of belief, expect the best, or expect the worst. Is it gonna be sunshine and rainbows for you, or is it literally gonna be doom and gloom? The sky is falling. It can be raining, and you can be positive. I'm convinced of that. So I want to challenge you this week. Work on your attitude. It's one of the built-in secret weapons you have to help you win at life. If you're negative and critical, the circumstances may even be good, but if you have this negative mindset, you are not winning, and you have a choice. So I hope you'll choose optimism. I hope you really will work that muscle. The sky may be falling, or you may feel like it's falling, but honestly, even if you feel that way, stay positive, lean in, and I'm convinced the rain will stop and things will improve, and you can be at a better place. Let's keep chasing greatness. If you know somebody who needs to hear this, somebody who's negative or critical, maybe you pass it along to them. I don't know, maybe they need a little reminder as well. If you are the recipient of this from somebody, don't assume they think you're negative or critical. But for all of us, let's see if there's a place in our life and our leadership where we can be even more positive this next week. It'll be great for us, and it'll be great for the people around us. All right. Love you guys. I'll be back with you next week. We'll talk about winning at work on Monday. But in the meantime, let's go win this weekend. Let's win at life by being more positive.